Hello, I'm Josh Padgett, Director of Fine Arts here at the South Carolina School for the Deaf and the Blind. We just want to show you a day in the life here at the school and how we make the arts accessible all across campus. We'll visit Cedar Springs Academy, which is a school for our deaf, blind, multisensory disabled. Then we'll head up to the blind school. Then we'll go to the deaf school and show you some around for our Applied Academic Center, which is our transition center. And we'll just go around and we'll just show you this is just an average day in the life here at SCSDB and how accessibility is the theme and the key piece and the umbrella where all our arts programming lies. Here we are at Cedar Springs Academy. This is our school for students who are multisensory disabled. They can be blind, they can have vision problems, they can be deaf or hard of hearing. We're going to show you how we make the arts accessible here at Cedar Springs, one of our 4 schools here at South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind. So here we are at Cedar Springs Academy in a music room, and we're just going to show you how we make the music class accessible to some of our students here at Cedar Springs Academy.
Today we were showing different ways that I provide accessibility to my classroom for blind and deaf students. First thing we showed was Melanie, one of my students, playing piano. I use Braille for Melanie to read the notes on the piano. I can also sometimes use Braille in the music as well. I can also use, for younger students, we use tactile stickers. So if they don't read Braille yet, they can use tactile stickers to find different notes. We also sometimes use the raised black keys on the keyboard since they're naturally raised. That's something they can find in the environment anywhere. The second thing that you saw was a pipe that we use for the students in the deaf classes to feel the music sound waves, like the vibrations. And what I do is I put on Splice Beatmaker because of the fact the bass is really vibrational with that particular app. But you can really use anything that has a lot of bass, and the students really can feel that music either with their feet and like clap or play rhythms. Sometimes I have them drum at the same time so they can feel like a metronome. So it's good for lots of reasons. And then the last thing you saw was I used a wooden surface that I made that was raised so that it also vibrates. That way when they play drums, they can feel what they're playing. And I also have Google Chrome has like a Chrome website where there's like different sound waves that show on the board. And that way they can see the music that they're making as they're playing it.
So here we are at the South Carolina School for the Blind, and we're going to show you how we make the arts accessible here. So come on in. So being in the School for the Blind, you'll notice mostly everything is tactile. Okay, so on the walls, like so if you see art like right here, you'll see it's very tactile. All right, so we have our tactile dragon who goes all the way down, who represents the dragon on the end of the wall. So being an ABC school, you'll notice with the art, we tied it in with the ELA. So the students will produce their art after they're done, and they'll kind of write why they did it. Like sewing was kind of hard at first, but once it got used to being poked by a needle, it was a little easier. It was fun to get used to the sewing machine. And then on the side, we'll have it in brailled. The ELA will be brailled in all our artwork. So like if you turn around, you'll notice, so the high school students obviously will have more literacy, standards and more work done. But you'll see it's still brailled all the way to here, but so everything is tactile. So that's how we look. And now if you turn around again, over here, the students have been studying art from Chile. And so this is actually a tactile map. Everything still is in Braille. The arts are vital and critical at our school because it allows the students to interpret their environment and construct meaning of how they feel and see things in their environment. So this is an actual representation of a farm, and you can see Cameron, he used cardboard rings, tissue paper, and pom-poms, buttons, and the tissue represents the chickens, the cardboard rings are the dogs, and then once again it's brailled for an explanation, but once again it's all tactile. If you come right here, they were studying in social studies, they were studying environments and habitats. So Evan, he's showing you the different steps of his artwork right here. And so we allow the students to also express themselves. So I'm happy to complete the project, but the first step was difficult, but it was so much fun. And then over here, he made a riverbank. So he's showing you the river, how the tinfoil
When I'm teaching a two-dimensional artwork, one of the things that I offer to students is a tactile version of the artwork so that they can feel how the composition is laid out. I also offer a verbal explanation of what the picture contains.
One of the ways that we try to make music accessible here at the School for the Blind is to make sure that students have recordings of their parts so that they can access those at any time, even if they're not quite ready to read music. As far as reading music, that's standard number 5. We can't just ignore it. And so we use tactile references until students are ready to tackle Braille music. Braille music overlaps the literary Braille system. We use certain books and certain tools like this one, which is Braille tiles, so that they can take melodic dictation just like you would in any other classroom. When our students are viewing a staged music performance, it's really important to give them as much access as possible. So what we've done is to get through grant processes to get an audio description system that allows students who have a receiver to hear descriptions of what's happening on the stage. I or someone else is standing at the back with a transmitter going into the microphone like this. This microphone helps me not disturb other patrons, but I tell students or other patrons what's happening on the stage. For instance, that the Queen of the Night is wearing a sparkly headdress and has a long veil with moons and stars on it, or that someone just fell and that's why everyone's laughing. It's important to give them as much of the stage experience as we can, even if they can't see it.
This is Polium Auditorium. This is where we hold our performances a lot in SESDB. It's also where we hold our ASL theater classes. So we have our theater teacher, Liam McDougall. He's working with some students independently right now. They're getting ready for production in the spring. So Liam's over here working with facial expressions, some blocking, some movement with some of our lead actors. So you'll see a lot of how we incorporate ASL for theater, because ASL theater is its own culture, it's its own set of expectations and kind of rules. So to have theater here at SCSWB, especially as it relates to the deaf students, you have to have someone fluent in ASL.
I think for me, one of the biggest reasons why this is so important is allowing these kids the opportunity to express themselves in their fullest, to their fullest extent, and understand that their expression is really powerful, and that they have so many tools available to them within that expression, I think is incredibly valuable, and I think is something that often gets overlooked in terms of like allowing and empowering these kids to feel like they can be, they can be whatever they want to be, and that there is no limit to their possibilities, which I think is really common for a hearing counterpart. That's a super valuable aspect of this, this education. And on top of that, there's also the fact that my ability to use sign language and to be fluent in ASL allows me to connect with these kids in a much more full way, so that they are, they see someone who is empowered in using their ASL as an actor or as a performer. And it allows them to feel, oh, great, there's an example that I can potentially draw from. Even just as an example and speaking in class, there is a way for them to see, oh, great, I can understand how to make this successful, make this my own.
So I grew up at SESDB, and so the teaching of theater and other things that I have learned, I think drama is has a lot to do with that and allowing me to feel good, and I'm really thankful for the opportunities.
Once again, I'm Josh Padgett. Thank you for coming in and getting a little snapshot here of an everyday life here at SCSDB and our Arts and Basic Curriculum program. Take care.